The gasoline was everywhere, soaking her uniform, dripping from her hair, pooling on the floor of her own patrol car. Officer Jessica Taylor couldn't move. Her hands were zip-tied behind her back. Shadow, her canine partner, was locked in the cage beside her, whimpering, clawing desperately at the metal bars. Victor Marchetti flicked open his silver Zippo lighter and smiled. "You cost me $40 million, officer. Now you and your dog are going to burn." The flame danced in the darkness. Jessica closed her eyes, felt Shadow pressing against the cage, trying to reach her one last time. And then she heard it. A motorcycle engine, screaming toward them at impossible speed. Before we begin this incredible story, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any part of Jessica and Shadow's journey. And drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels around the world. Now let's go back to where it all started. 3 days earlier, Jessica Taylor had no idea her life was about to change forever. She was running late for her shift, which wasn't like her. 6 years on the force, 3 years in the K-9 unit, and she'd never been late. Not once. But Shadow had been acting strange all morning, pacing, whining, refusing to eat his breakfast. "What's wrong with you, boy?" Jessica knelt beside the German Shepherd, running her hands through his dark fur. "You sick?" Shadow pressed his head against her chest, made a sound deep in his throat that she'd never heard before. "Hey, whatever it is, we'll figure it out." "Okay, we always do." The dog looked at her with those intelligent brown eyes, like he was trying to tell her something, like he knew something she didn't. Jessica shook off the feeling. Dogs sensed things, sure, but they weren't psychic. She had no way of knowing that Shadow was trying to warn her about what was coming. The drive to the station was quiet. Shadow sat in his compartment in the back of the patrol car, still restless, still unsettled. Jessica's phone buzzed. Text from dispatch. "Anonymous tip. Warehouse on the North Docks. Possible drug activity. Available units respond." She wasn't supposed to take it. The docks were outside her sector. She was supposed to be running a routine patrol through the downtown area. But something pulled at her. That instinct she'd learned to trust after years on the job. "What do you think Shadow feel like taking a detour?" The dog's ears perked up, the first sign of his usual alertness she'd seen all day. "That's what I thought." She turned the patrol car toward the docks. She had no idea she was driving toward a $40 million drug shipment, and the man who would do anything to protect it. The warehouse looked abandoned. Jessica pulled up behind 2 other patrol cars already on scene. Officers Martinez and Chen were waiting outside, hands on their weapons. "Taylor, didn't expect K-9 on this one." "Wasn't planning on it, but Shadow's been acting weird all day. Figured if there's something here, he'll find it." Martinez nodded. "Tip said large quantity. Could be nothing. Could be something. Only one way to find out." They moved toward the warehouse, Shadow at Jessica's side, already sniffing the air, already working. The moment they entered, Jessica knew the tip was real. Shadow's body language changed instantly. Ears forward, tail rigid. That specific posture that meant he'd caught a scent. He's got something. Where? Shadow was already moving, pulling Jessica toward the back of the warehouse past rusted equipment and old shipping containers. He stopped at a section of wall that looked like every other section, and started barking. "There's nothing here," Chen said. "Shadow says there is." Jessica ran her hands along the wall, felt a seam that shouldn't have been there. "Help me with this." It took 3 of them to move the false panel. What they found behind it made them all stop breathing. Cocaine, stacked floor to ceiling. Brick after brick after brick wrapped in plastic stretching back into darkness. "Holy shit," Martinez whispered. Jessica's radio crackled. "Taylor, what's your status?" We need everyone. Every available unit. DEA, FBI, everyone. What did you find? Jessica stared at the drugs. More than she'd ever seen in her life. More than she'd ever imagined seeing. Everything, she said. We found everything. Shadow sat at her feet, tail wagging, slightly proud of himself. She scratched behind his ears. Good boy. Good boy, Shadow. She didn't know that those drugs belonged to Victor Marchetti. She didn't know that finding them had just signed her death warrant. Victor Marchetti got the call at 2 a.m. He was in his study drinking whiskey that cost more than most people made in a week when his phone buzzed. Sir, we have a problem. What kind of problem? The warehouse. The cops found it. Everything. Marchetti didn't react. Not visibly. He'd spent 40 years building a reputation for ice-cold control. But inside something ignited. Something dark and burning. How? K9 unit. A dog found the hidden compartment. A dog? Yes, sir. German Shepherd. Handler is an Officer Jessica Taylor. She's the one who called it in. Marchetti set down his whiskey. Tell me everything about this Officer Taylor. Sir, everything. Where she lives. Who she loves. What she cares about. I want to know every detail of her life. What are you planning? Marchetti stood, walked to his window, looked out at a city that had been his for 3 decades. No one costs me $40 million and walks away. No one. And the dog? The dog led them to my product. The dog is just as guilty as she is. What do you want us to do? Marchetti's voice went flat, cold. The voice that had ordered dozens of deaths over the years. I want them both to burn. The investigation into Jessica Taylor took 3 days. Marchetti's people were thorough. They found everything. Her apartment in the Oak Park district. 3rd floor corner unit. Single woman living alone with her dog. No boyfriend. No family nearby. Parents both deceased, father killed in the line of duty when she was 12. Mother died of cancer 2 years later. She'd joined the police academy at 22. Graduated top of her class. Served 4 years in patrol before transferring to K9. The dog Shadow was a German Shepherd 5 years old. He'd been returned by 2 previous handlers who couldn't manage his intensity. Taylor was the 3rd, and the last. They're inseparable, the investigator reported. She takes him everywhere. Home, work, the grocery store. He sleeps in her bedroom. Eats better food than most people. She loves that dog. More than anything from what we can tell. Marchetti smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Good. That makes this easier. How do you want to do it? I want it personal. I want her to know why she's dying. I want her to have time to think about the mistakes she made. Marchetti's eyes were empty. Take her. Take the dog. And make it slow. And when we're done, burn them. Both of them. Leave nothing behind. The plan was set in motion. Jessica had no idea what was coming. But Shadow did. That's why he'd been acting strange. That's why he'd tried to warn her. Dogs know things. They sense the darkness before it arrives. The day before everything changed, Jessica got a commendation. Chief Harrison called her into his office personally. Shook her hand. Told her she'd done exceptional work. $43 million in cocaine off the streets. That's the biggest bust this department has ever seen. You should be proud. Shadow did the work. I just followed him. That's exactly the kind of humility we need more of. Harrison smiled. The mayor wants to do a press conference. Tomorrow morning. You and Shadow front and center. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Why not? Jessica hesitated. She'd been feeling watched for the past 2 days. Nothing concrete. Just a prickling at the back of her neck. Shadow had been even more agitated than before. Just a feeling. Probably nothing. Well, shake it off. Tomorrow's going to be a big day for you. Harrison stood, signaling the meeting was over. Get some rest. You've earned it. Jessica walked out of the office with a knot in her stomach she couldn't explain. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered anyway. Taylor? Silence on the other end, then breathing, slow and deliberate. Who is this? You shouldn't have found my warehouse officer Taylor. The voice was calm, cultured, terrifying. Who is this? You cost me a great deal of money, more than you could ever repay, so I'm going to take something from you instead. If this is a threat, it's not a threat, it's a promise. A pause. Give your dog a treat tonight. It'll be his last. The line went dead. Jessica's hands were shaking. She looked at Shadow sitting patiently at her feet. We need to go. Now. She called Martinez on the way to her car. I just got a threat. Someone connected to the warehouse bust. What kind of threat? The serious kind. I need backup at my apartment, and I need someone to trace a phone number. I'm on it. Don't go home alone. Too late. I'm already driving. Jessica. Just send the backup, Martinez. I'll be fine. She wasn't fine. She didn't know that Marchetti's men were already waiting. The parking garage was quiet when Jessica arrived. Too quiet. She'd parked here 1,000 times, knew every sound, every shadow. Something was wrong. Shadow, heel. The dog pressed against her leg, growling low in his throat. I know, boy. I feel it too. She drew her weapon, moved toward the elevator. She never made it. The needle hit her neck before she saw the man behind her. What? The world tilted, blurred. Shadow was barking, but the sound was fading, getting farther away. Shadow? Run? But Shadow didn't run. He never ran. He launched himself at the attacker, teeth bared 70 pounds of protective fury. There was a yelp, a crash, then nothing. Jessica's last thought before the darkness took her was of her dog. Please let him be okay. Please. Then everything went black. She woke up in the back of her own patrol car. Her head was pounding, her wrists were bound behind her back, and the smell gasoline thick and choking was everywhere. Shadow. A whimper from beside her. She turned her head. Shadow was in his cage. The same cage he'd ridden in 1,000 times. But now there was a padlock on the door, and gasoline was pooling on the floor around him. Oh God, Shadow. He's awake. Good. I wanted you both conscious for this. Jessica looked up. A man was standing outside the car door. Expensive suit. Silver hair. Eyes that held absolutely nothing. Who are you? Victor Marchetti. Perhaps you've heard of me. Jessica's blood went cold. Everyone had heard of Victor Marchetti, the mob boss who'd controlled the East Coast for 30 years. The man who'd never been convicted of anything despite being connected to dozens of murders. The man whose drugs she'd found. You're making a mistake. No, Officer Taylor. You made the mistake. You found something that didn't belong to you, and now you're going to pay for it. Marchetti opened the car door. Jessica could see more clearly now. They were in some kind of warehouse, empty, isolated, the kind of place where screams went unheard. The dog first, I think. No, please. Jessica struggled against her bonds. He's just an animal. He was doing his job. I'm the one who called it in. I'm the one. The dog found my product. The dog is the reason I'm out $40 million. Marchetti produced a gas can, started pouring more fuel into the car, over the seats, over Jessica's legs, over Shadow's cage. The dog dies with you. Please, I'll do anything, whatever you want. What I want is my money back. Can you give me that? I can try. You can't. Marchetti finished emptying the can, tossed it aside. So instead, you'll burn, both of you, together, just like you lived. He pulled something from his pocket, a silver Zippo lighter, old, well used, the kind of thing that had probably started a lot of fires over the years. Any last words? Jessica looked at Shadow. The dog was pressing against the cage trying to reach her. His whimpers were the saddest sound she'd ever heard. "I'm sorry, boy. I'm so sorry." How touching. Marchetti flicked the lighter open. The flame danced in the darkness. "Goodbye, Officer Taylor." Jessica closed her eyes. This was it. This was how she died. In a pool of gasoline with her partner beside her, killed by a man who'd never faced justice. She thought about her father, how he'd died trying to save someone, how she'd always wanted to be like him. She thought about Shadow, how he'd trusted her, how she'd failed him. She thought about all the things she'd never do, never say, never be. And then she heard it. A sound that didn't belong. An engine. Not a car engine. Something smaller. Something faster. Something screaming toward them at impossible speed. Marchetti heard it too. His head turned. What the? The crash came before he could finish. A motorcycle burst through a side door, sending metal and debris flying. The rider didn't slow down. He aimed directly at Marchetti's men, 3 of them standing near the car, and hit them like a bowling ball through pins. 2 went down immediately. The 3rd managed to draw his weapon. The rider was already off the bike. He moved like nothing Jessica had ever seen. Faster than thought. More precise than a machine. The 3rd guard fired. Missed. Fired again. The rider was inside his guard before the 2nd shot finished echoing. A strike to the throat. An elbow to the temple. The guard went down and didn't get up. Marchetti was backing away, lighter still in his hand, eyes wide with something Jessica had never expected to see on his face. Fear. "Who the hell are you?" "Nobody important." The rider's voice was calm, controlled, like he'd done this 1,000 times before. "Drop the lighter." "Do you know who I am? Do you know what I'll do to you?" "I know exactly who you are, and I know what you were about to do to them." The rider stepped forward. "Drop the lighter." Marchetti's hand was shaking. The flame wavered. Jessica held her breath. If he threw the lighter, they were all dead. The car was soaked. One spark would be enough. "You think you can stop me? I have an army. I have connections everywhere. You're just one man." "One man is enough." The rider took another step. "Last chance." Marchetti's eyes darted between the rider and the car, between escape and revenge. He made his choice. He threw the lighter. Time seemed to slow down. Jessica watched the lighter arc through the air, watched the flame trail behind it like a comet, watched her death approaching at the speed of physics. And then the rider moved. He caught the lighter in midair, one hand, perfect precision, snapped it closed in the same motion, and drove his other fist into Marchetti's face before the mob boss could react. Marchetti dropped like a puppet with its strings cut. The rider stood over him for a moment, then turned toward the car. "You okay?" Jessica stared at him. Her savior, her impossible, inexplicable savior. Who are you?" "Questions later. Let's get you out of here first." He pulled a knife from his belt, cut through the zip ties on her wrists, helped her out of the gasoline-soaked car. "My dog. Please, my dog. I got him." The rider moved to Shadow's cage, examined the padlock. Without a word, he pulled something from his pocket, a lockpick, and had it open in 3 seconds. Shadow burst out of the cage. He didn't go to the rider. He went straight to Jessica, pressing against her legs, licking her hands, whimpering. "Hey, boy. Hey, I'm okay. We're okay." She knelt down, wrapped her arms around him, felt his heart pounding against hers. They'd almost died, both of them, seconds away from burning alive, and this stranger had saved them. She looked up at him. He was standing a few feet away, watching them with an expression she couldn't read. "Thank you. I don't know why you... I heard your dog." The rider's voice was quiet. "From outside. I know what a distress yelp sounds like." "You know dogs." I worked with military K-9s, overseas, long time ago. He paused. Couldn't walk away from that sound. Sirens in the distance now. Someone had heard the crash. Or maybe Marchetti's men had been tracked. The cops will be here soon. You should stay. Give a statement. I don't do statements. But you saved my life. Our lives. I was never here. The rider was already moving toward his motorcycle. Take care of yourself, Officer Taylor. And your dog. Wait. At least tell me your name. He hesitated. Just for a second. Marcus Cole. Then he was on the bike. Then he was gone. Jessica stood in the gasoline-soaked warehouse holding Shadow, watching the man who'd saved them disappear into the darkness. She had so many questions. Who was he? How had he found them? Why had he risked his life for strangers? But one thing she knew for certain. She was going to find Marcus Cole. And she was going to thank him properly. She had no idea that Marchetti was already planning his next move. Or that this was only the beginning. The arrest of Victor Marchetti made headlines for exactly 48 hours. Jessica spent those 48 hours being interviewed, debriefed, examined, and questioned by everyone from her own captain to FBI agents, who appeared without warning and asked questions she couldn't answer. Tell us again about the man on the motorcycle. I already told you. His name is Marcus Cole. He saved my life and disappeared. And you didn't get any other information? A phone number? An address? He wasn't exactly in the mood for small talk. I was covered in gasoline, and Marchetti was about to set me on fire. The FBI agent made a note. His face revealed nothing. We ran the name through our databases. Marcus Cole, 12 years Navy SEAL, 4 combat tours, multiple commendations, retired 3 years ago with a medical discharge. Medical discharge. Classified. We can't access the specifics. Jessica leaned forward. So you're telling me a decorated SEAL just happened to be driving by when I was about to be murdered? That's what we're trying to figure out. The agent closed his folder. Officer Taylor, I'm going to be honest with you. Victor Marchetti has lawyers, very expensive lawyers, and despite what happened in that warehouse, our case against him is complicated. Complicated. He tried to burn me alive. His lawyers are claiming he was there under duress, that his men forced him into the situation, that he's actually a victim of his own organization. That's insane. That's the legal system. The agent stood. I'd recommend keeping a low profile for the next few days. Marchetti has a long reach, even from inside a cell. He left. Jessica sat alone in the interview room, Shadow at her feet, processing what she'd just heard. Marchetti might walk free. The man who'd poured gasoline over her body, who'd threatened to burn her dog alive, who'd smiled while he did it. He might walk free. Not if I can help it, she whispered. Shadow looked up at her. His eyes held that knowing look again. The one that said he understood more than any dog should. We need to find Marcus Cole, boy. He's the key to all of this. The search took 3 days. Jessica used every resource she had access to. Police databases, DMV records, property registrations, military records that she technically shouldn't have been able to see, but accessed anyway through a friend in intelligence. Marcus Cole existed. Barely. Born in 1989 in small-town Ohio. Enlisted at 18. Rose through the ranks faster than anyone expected. Selected for SEAL training at 22. Graduated top of his class. The next 12 years were mostly classified. Black ink covering entire sections of his service record. Whatever he'd done, it was sensitive enough that even basic details were redacted. Then, 3 years ago, an abrupt end. Medical discharge. Honorable. No explanation provided. He'd surfaced in the city 6 months later. Opened an auto repair shop. Cole's Custom Motors. Small operation. Good reviews. Fair prices. A SEAL running a mechanic shop. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. I'm going to visit him, Jessica told her captain. The man who saved you. I have questions. Jessica, you're on administrative leave. You're supposed to be resting, not investigating. I'm not investigating. I'm thanking someone who saved my life. Captain Harrison studied her for a long moment. Be careful. Whatever Marcus Cole is, he's not someone you want to push too hard. Why do you say that? Because men like him don't disappear into auto shops without a reason. And the reasons are usually the kind you don't want to know about. Jessica drove to Cole's Custom Motors the next morning. Shadow rode in the back, calmer than he'd been since before the warehouse, like he knew where they were going, like he approved. The shop was exactly what she'd expected. Small, clean, professional. A sign out front that looked hand-painted. 3 cars in various states of repair inside, and Marcus Cole himself under the hood of an old Mustang covered in grease. Officer Taylor. He didn't look up. How did you know it was me? Your dog's collar. The tags have a specific jingle. Marcus straightened, wiping his hands on a rag. Also, your car needs new brake pads. I can hear the wear from here. Jessica almost smiled. You were a mechanic in the Navy. Among other things. What other things? The kind I don't talk about. Marcus met her eyes for the first time. His were gray, cold, but not empty. There was something behind them, something carefully controlled. What do you want, Officer Taylor? I want to thank you, properly, for saving my life. You're welcome. Anything else? I want to know why. Why what? Why you were there. Why you saved me. Why you disappeared. Jessica stepped closer. Who are you? Marcus Cole. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. His eyes moved to Shadow, who had padded over and was now sniffing his hand. Your dog likes me. He doesn't like anyone. Then maybe he's a better judge of character than you are. Marcus scratched behind Shadow's ears. The dog leaned into his touch. I was there because I was coming home from a supply run. I heard your dog screaming. I couldn't walk away. That's it. You just heard a dog and decided to take on a mob boss and 3 armed men. When you put it that way, it sounds stupid. It sounds impossible. And yet here we are. Marcus turned back to the Mustang. You should go, Officer Taylor. I'm not the hero you're looking for. I'm just a guy who fixes cars and makes bad decisions. Marchetti is out on bail. Marcus's hands stopped moving. What? His lawyers got him out this morning. $2 million cash. He didn't even blink. Jessica's voice hardened. The FBI thinks he'll beat the charges. Some technicality about coercion and due process. He might walk completely free. That's not possible. It's happening. Jessica moved closer. He tried to burn me alive, Marcus. He was going to kill my dog. And now he's out there drinking expensive whiskey and planning his next move. What do you want me to do about it? I don't know. But I know you're the only person who's ever scared him. I saw his face when you came through that door. He was terrified. He should be. Then help me. Help me make sure he pays for what he did. Marcus was quiet. His jaw worked like he was chewing on something invisible. I'm not a cop. I don't do paperwork and evidence in court proceedings. I'm not asking you to be a cop. I'm asking you to be exactly what you are. Jessica paused. Whatever that is. Shadow barked once. Sharp. Emphatic. Marcus looked at the dog, then at Jessica. Your partner has opinions. He's usually right. Another long silence. There's a diner 2 blocks from here, Martinez's. Meet me there tonight at 8. Come alone. Marcus turned back to his work. And don't tell anyone about this conversation. Why? Because Marchetti has cops on his payroll. Has for years. I need to know who I can trust before I agree to anything. Jessica felt a chill run down her spine. How do you know about the cops? I know a lot of things, Officer Taylor. That's why I'm still alive. She left with more questions than she'd arrived with, but at least now she had a meeting. The diner was nearly empty when Jessica arrived. Marcus was already there. Back corner, facing the door, eyes tracking everyone who entered. SEAL habits die hard. You came alone, he said as she sat down. You asked me to. That doesn't mean you'd listen. Marcus pushed a cup of coffee toward her. Black right, no sugar. How did you? You've got calluses on your trigger finger, and you drive a 6-year-old sedan instead of something newer. You're practical, efficient, no nonsense. People like that drink their coffee black. Is that a SEAL thing, reading people? It's a survival thing. Marcus leaned back. Let me tell you something about Victor Marchetti. He's been running the East Coast for 30 years. Politicians, judges, cops. Everyone owes him something. The reason he's never been convicted isn't luck. It's strategy. I know his reputation. You know what's in the newspapers. The real story is worse. Marcus's voice dropped. 3 years ago, when I was still active, my team ran an operation that intersected with Marchetti's network. Off the books. Classified. We took down one of his supply lines in Eastern Europe. You went after Marchetti while you were a SEAL. We went after the product. Marchetti was a secondary concern. Marcus's eyes darkened. But he didn't see it that way. He saw it as a declaration of war. What happened? 2 of my team died in a car bombing 6 months later. Another one had a training accident that left him paralyzed. Marcus's hands were flat on the table, steady, but Jessica could see the tension in his shoulders. I was the only one who walked away clean, and I've spent the last 3 years wondering when my turn would come. You think Marchetti killed your teammates? I know he did. I just can't prove it. So that's why you saved me. It wasn't random. It was personal. It started as instinct. I heard your dog. I reacted. Marcus met her eyes. But when I saw Marchetti standing there with that lighter, it became personal. Jessica processed this. The layers of history, the depth of Marcus's connection to everything that had happened. You've been hunting him this whole time. That's why you're in this city. I've been watching, waiting for an opportunity. Marcus smiled grimly. You handed me one. The biggest drug bust in the city's history. His organization is bleeding. His lieutenants are panicking. He's more vulnerable now than he's been in 30 years. And you want to finish it. I want to end it. There's a difference. Marcus leaned forward. But I can't do it alone. I need someone on the inside. Someone with access to information I can't get. Someone Marchetti won't see coming. Me. You're already on his list. You've already survived one attempt. The question is whether you're willing to risk another. Jessica thought about the warehouse, the gasoline, Shadow's whimpers, the flame dancing in Marchetti's hand. What do you need? Information first. Marchetti's accountant is a man named Vincent Reyes. He knows where every dollar goes, where every body is buried. If we can get to him, we can bring down the entire organization. Reyes is untouchable. He's got round-the-clock security. Nobody's untouchable. Everyone has a weakness. Marcus pulled out a photograph. Reyes has a daughter, Elena, 19 years old, college student. She doesn't know what her father does. You want to use his daughter? I want to show her the truth. Let her make her own choice about what kind of man her father is. Jessica stared at the photograph. A young woman with innocent eyes. A girl who had no idea her life was built on blood money. That's manipulation. That's leverage, the only kind that doesn't involve violence. Marcus's voice was hard. I've done enough killing for 10 lifetimes. I'd like to try something different. And if it doesn't work, then we go to plan B. Which is... Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. The first week was reconnaissance. Marcus had contacts Jessica didn't ask about. Former military, former intelligence. People who lived in shadows and traded in secrets. Within 3 days they knew Reyes's schedule. His habits, his weaknesses. The man was paranoid but predictable. Same route to work every day. Same lunch spot. Same gym. Same mistress on Tuesday and Thursday nights. He's having an affair, Jessica observed, studying the surveillance photos. Has been for 3 years. His wife doesn't know. His daughter definitely doesn't know. Marcus spread more photos across the table in his apartment above the shop. That's leverage point 1. And leverage point 2. Reyes has been skimming from Marchetti for years. Small amounts. Nothing obvious, but it adds up. Marcus tapped a bank statement. If Marchetti found out Reyes would be dead within 24 hours. So we have blackmail material on both sides. We have options. The more options we have, the more likely this works. Shadow padded over and put his head in Marcus's lap. The dog had taken to him immediately, something Jessica still couldn't quite understand. He really likes you. Animals know things. They see past the bullshit. Marcus scratched Shadow's ears. He knows I'm not going to hurt you. That's enough for him. Is that true? You're not going to hurt me? I'm going to do everything I can to keep you alive, both of you. Marcus looked up. But I won't lie to you, Jessica. What we're doing is dangerous. Marchetti has resources we can't match. If this goes wrong, I know the risks. Do you? Because knowing and understanding are different things. I've watched friends die because they understood the concept of danger without really believing it applied to them. I've almost died twice in the past week, once in that warehouse, and once 6 years ago when I was a rookie and walked into the wrong building. Jessica's voice was steady. I know what death looks like. I'm not afraid of it. You should be. Fear keeps you sharp. Then what keeps you going if you're not afraid? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Anger, guilt, the faces of people I couldn't save. He looked away. And a promise I made to my teammates, the ones Marchetti killed. I promised I'd make him pay. That's a lot to carry. It's what I've got. They sat in silence for a while. Shadow dozed at their feet. The city hummed outside. When do we move on Reyes? Jessica finally asked. Soon, but first we need to deal with something else. What? Marcus stood, walked to the window, looked out at the street below. There's a cop feeding information to Marchetti, someone in your department. I've been tracking the leaks for weeks. Every time we make progress, Marchetti seems to know about it before we do. That's impossible. I know everyone in my unit. Then you know one of them is a traitor. Jessica felt her stomach drop. Who? That's what we need to find out, because until we do nothing, we plan is safe. How do we identify them? Marcus turned back to face her. His expression was cold, calculating. We set a trap, feed different information to different people, see which version gets back to Marchetti. That could take weeks. It could. Or it could take days if we're smart about it. Marcus sat back down. I need a list. Everyone who knows about your involvement in the warehouse bust. Everyone who has access to your case files. Everyone you've talked to about me. Jessica started making the list. It was longer than she wanted to admit. The trap was set the next morning. Jessica fed 5 different pieces of false information to 5 different people. Each one slightly different. Each one traceable. To Martinez, she mentioned a safe house on Oak Street. To Chen, she talked about a meeting with federal prosecutors on Thursday. To Captain Harrison, she discussed a potential witness who'd agreed to testify. To Officer Daniels in records, she asked about background information on a fictional associate of Marchetti's. And to Detective Warren, the senior investigator on the case, she mentioned that Marcus Cole had agreed to testify in exchange for immunity. Then they waited. The response came faster than expected. 48 hours later, Jessica received a call from an unknown number. Officer Taylor, this is Detective Warren's partner. He asked me to call you. About what? He said to tell you the safe house on Oak Street has been compromised. You need to move your witness immediately. Jessica's blood went cold. She hadn't told Warren about Oak Street. She'd told him about Marcus testifying. The information had gotten crossed somewhere. Unless Warren was working with Martinez. Thank you, I'll handle it. She hung up and called Marcus immediately. It's not Warren, not alone anyway. The information got mixed up. Which means there are two leaks. Or they're coordinating. How is that possible? Marchetti's been doing this for 30 years. He doesn't just buy one cop, he builds networks. Marcus's voice was grim. This is bigger than we thought. What do? We accelerate the timeline, move on Reyes before they realize what we're planning. Is that safe? No, but waiting isn't safe either. A pause. Can you get away tonight? I need you here. I'll be there in an hour. Jessica. What? Bring Shadow. From now on, he doesn't leave your side, not for anything. She looked at her dog. He was already watching her, already alert. We're partners, she said. He never leaves my side anyway. Good. Because starting tonight, we're at war. The attack came at 11:47 p.m. Jessica was in Marcus's apartment reviewing the plan to approach Elena Reyes when Shadow suddenly lifted his head. His ears pricked forward. A low growl built in his throat. What is it, boy? Marcus was already moving, killing the lights, grabbing something from under his bed. We've got company. How do you? Your dog knows. Trust him. Headlights swept across the window. Multiple vehicles. Moving fast. Back door. Now. They moved through the darkness. Shadow leading Jessica in the middle, Marcus bringing up the rear with a weapon Jessica hadn't seen him draw. They made it to the alley behind the shop just as the front door exploded inward. Run! They ran. Behind them shouts, gunfire, the sound of boots on concrete. Marcus grabbed Jessica's arm and pulled her down a side street. Shadow kept pace silent now, all instinct. Where are we going? Backup location, 3 blocks north. You have a backup location? I have several. Old habit. They turned another corner, then another, the sounds of pursuit fading slightly. Marcus stopped at a nondescript door, punched a code into a hidden keypad. The door clicked open. Inside, quick. They slipped through. The door closed behind them. Darkness. Silence. The sound of their own breathing. Where are we? Basement of an old textile factory. I bought it through a shell company 2 years ago. Marcus's voice was calm, controlled, like they weren't being hunted. We're safe here. For now. They found your apartment. They knew exactly where we were. Which means the leak is worse than we thought. Someone's been tracking us in real time. How? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. Jessica felt Shadow press against her leg. The dog was trembling slightly. The adrenaline affecting him just like it was affecting her. Hey boy, it's okay. We're okay. He did good. Marcus's voice softened. He gave us the warning we needed. 30 more seconds and they would have had us. He saved my life more times than I can count. That's what partners do. Jessica looked at Marcus in the darkness. Speaking from experience. Speaking from loss. Marcus was quiet for a moment. I had a partner once, military canine, German shepherd like Shadow. His name was Ghost. He died in Afghanistan. Took a bullet meant for me. I'm sorry. It was 8 years ago. Still feels like yesterday. Marcus moved to a wall panel, flipped a switch. Emergency lighting flickered on. When I heard Shadow screaming in that warehouse, I heard Ghost. I couldn't save him. But I could save your dog. Jessica understood now. The connection. The immediate bond. The way Marcus looked at Shadow. That's why you came. That's why I couldn't walk away. They stood in silence for a moment. 2 people bound by violence and loss, and the dogs who'd saved them. What happens now? Jessica finally asked. Now we change the plan. Marchetti knows we're coming for him. He's going to be expecting a frontal assault. So we don't give him one. We give him something he'll never see coming. Marcus's eyes hardened. We give him his own people. What do you mean? Marchetti rules through fear. His lieutenants stay loyal because they're terrified of what happens if they don't. But that kind of loyalty is fragile. Push it hard enough and it breaks. You want to turn them against him. I want to give them a choice. Die with Marchetti or live without him. Marcus smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Most people choose to live. And Reyes is still the key. But we're not going to approach him directly anymore. Too dangerous. We're going to let his daughter bring him to us. How? By showing her exactly who her father is. Every crime, every body, everything he's done to build the life she thinks is legitimate. That's cruel. That's survival, and right now survival is all that matters. Shadow barked once, sharp, agreeing. Jessica looked at her dog, then at Marcus. Okay, tell me the plan. Marcus told her, and despite everything, the fear, the danger, the overwhelming odds, Jessica felt something she hadn't felt in days. Hope. Finding Elena Reyes was easier than expected. The girl was a creature of habit. Class at 9, library until noon, lunch at the campus cafe, study group at 3, home by 7. Marcus had been watching her for 2 days from a distance, learning her patterns, understanding her world. She's isolated, he reported back to Jessica. No close friends, no boyfriend, just books and classes, and a father she barely sees. That makes sense. Reyes works 16-hour days. He probably hasn't had a real conversation with her in years. Which means she's looking for connection, for someone who understands her. And you think I'm that someone? I think you're a woman who lost her father young. She's a woman who never really had one. Marcus handed her a file. You have more in common than you think. Jessica looked at the photograph. Elena Reyes, at 19, dark hair, serious eyes, a face that held loneliness like other faces held smiles. What's my approach? Casual encounter? You're a cop interested in criminal justice reform. She's studying pre-law. You meet at the library, start talking, build rapport. And then you show her what her father really does. Jessica felt something twist in her stomach. She's innocent, Marcus. She doesn't know anything about Marchetti or the drugs or any of it. Which is exactly why she can help us. Her innocence is leverage. That's cold. That's reality. Marcus's voice hardened. Victor Marchetti tried to burn you and your dog alive. He's killed dozens of people. He's destroyed families. And right now Vincent Reyes is the only person who can put him away forever. If using his daughter's innocence is what it takes, then that's what we do. Shadow whined softly. He could feel the tension between them. I'm not saying I won't do it. I'm saying I don't like it. You don't have to like it, you just have to do it. Marcus stood. First contact tomorrow, library 2 p.m. I'll be watching from outside. And if something goes wrong, then I'll handle it. Jessica looked at him, at the warrior hiding behind the mechanic's clothes. You really think this will work? I think it's our best shot, and right now best shot is all we've got. The library was quiet when Jessica arrived. Elena was exactly where Marcus said she'd be. Corner table, books spread out. Head bent over a legal textbook that looked older than she was. Jessica approached slowly. Shadow wasn't with her, too conspicuous in a library, and she felt naked without him. Is this seat taken? Elena looked up, cautious, guarded. No, go ahead. Jessica sat down, pulled out her own book, pretended to read. 5 minutes passed, 10. That's an interesting choice. Elena's voice was soft, almost shy. What? Constitutional law theory. Most people don't read that for fun. I'm not most people. Jessica smiled. I'm a cop, actually, working on understanding the system from the other side. Elena's expression shifted. Something flickered behind her eyes. A cop. Does that bother you? No, I just... My father works in finance. He doesn't have a high opinion of law enforcement. Most people in finance don't. We make their jobs harder. A small smile. The first crack in Elena's armor. I'm Elena. Jessica. They talked for an hour. Nothing about Marchetti. Nothing about crime. Just two women discussing law and justice and the gap between theory and reality. By the end, Elena was laughing at Jessica's stories about Police Academy. The guarded look was gone. Something warmer had taken its place. I should go, Elena said finally. Study group at 3. It was nice meeting you. Maybe we could do this again sometime. I'd like that. Elena gathered her books, hesitated. Jessica, can I ask you something? Sure. Why did you become a cop? Really? Jessica thought about it, about her father, about the phone call that changed everything when she was 12. My dad was a cop. He died in the line of duty when I was young. I guess I wanted to understand why he did it, why it mattered so much to him that he was willing to die for it. Elena's face changed. I'm sorry, about your father. It was a long time ago, but thank you. My father. He's never home, never around. Sometimes I wonder if I even know who he really is. The opening Jessica had been waiting for. She didn't take it, not yet. Maybe you should ask him. Maybe. Elena smiled sadly. Thanks for the conversation. It was nice. I don't get a lot of nice. She left. Jessica watched her go, feeling something she hadn't expected. Guilt. Marcus was waiting outside. Good work. She trusts you. She's lonely. She's looking for someone to talk to. That's exactly what we need. Jessica turned to face him. I'm not going to hurt her, Marcus. Whatever happens, whatever we do, I'm not going to destroy that girl. I'm not asking you to destroy her. I'm asking you to save her. From a father who's going to bring her down with him if she doesn't see the truth. And if the truth breaks her, then we help her put the pieces back together. Marcus's voice softened. I'm not a monster, Jessica. I know what we're doing is ugly, but the alternative is letting Marchetti walk. Is that what you want? No. Then we keep going, one step at a time. Shadow was waiting at the safe house when they returned. He bounded to Jessica immediately, pressing against her legs, licking her hands. Hey boy, I missed you too. Marcus watched them together. Something crossed his face. Pain maybe, or memory. He was alone for 6 hours. He'll be anxious for a while. He doesn't like being separated from me. Neither would I. The words came out before Marcus could stop them. He looked away. I mean being separated from backup, in the field. It's dangerous. Jessica felt something shift between them, something she didn't have time to examine. What's the next step with Elena? We meet again, build more trust. Then when she's ready, we show her the files. What files? Marcus moved to his computer, pulled up a folder. Everything Vincent Reyes has ever done. Every payment. Every body. Every time he helped Marchetti destroy someone's life. Marcus scrolled through documents. It's not pretty, but it's the truth. Jessica looked at the screen. Names. Dates. Photographs she didn't want to see. Where did you get this? I've been collecting it for 3 years, since my team died. Marcus's jaw tightened. I was going to use it to take down Marchetti directly, but this is better, more thorough. You've been planning this for 3 years. I've been surviving for 3 years. Planning is just part of survival. The second meeting with Elena happened 4 days later. Coffee shop this time. Casual, comfortable. Elena talked about her classes, her professors, her dreams of becoming a public defender. I want to help people who can't help themselves, she said. People the system has failed. That's noble. My father says it's naive. He says the system works exactly as it's designed to. The rich stay rich, The poor stay poor. Everyone else fights for scraps. Do you believe that? Elena was quiet for a moment. Sometimes. When I look at how things really work, it's hard to argue with him. What do you mean, how things really work? I don't know. He never tells me specifics, just hints, comments. The way he looks when he thinks I'm not watching. Elena's voice dropped. Sometimes I think he's hiding something big. The opening. Finally. Jessica took a breath. Elena, there's something I need to tell you. What? I didn't meet you by accident, at the library. I was looking for you. Elena's face changed, the warmth draining away. What do you mean? I'm not just a cop. I'm a cop who's investigating Victor Marchetti, and your father works for him. Silence. That's insane. My father is an accountant. He works in finance. Your father is Victor Marchetti's personal accountant. He handles the money. All of it. The drug money, the bribe money, the money from every crime Marchetti has ever committed. No, that's not. I have proof. Documents, photographs, evidence that your father has been involved in organized crime for over 15 years. Elena stood up. Her hands were shaking. You lied to me. You pretended to be my friend so you could. I am your friend. That's why I'm telling you this instead of just arresting him. Jessica reached out. Elena, please, sit down. Let me explain. Explain what? That my father is a criminal, that my entire life is a lie. Your life isn't a lie. You're innocent. You didn't know. But now you do, and you have a choice. What choice? Jessica pulled out a flash drive. Everything your father has done, every crime, every victim, it's all here. You can look at it, understand the truth, and then decide what you want to do with it. And if I don't want to look, then I walk away. I never contact you again. And you spend the rest of your life wondering if everything you believed about your family was wrong. Elena stared at the flash drive. Her whole body was trembling. Why are you doing this? Why not just arrest him? Because arresting him won't stop Marchetti. He'll just find another accountant, another way to hide his money. The only way to bring him down for good is from the inside, and your father is the key. You want me to turn my father in? I want you to help him save himself. If he cooperates, if he testifies against Marchetti, he can get immunity, protection, a new life. If he doesn't, Jessica paused. Marchetti will eventually kill him anyway. He kills everyone who knows too much. It's just a matter of time. Elena's legs gave out. She sat down heavily, tears streaming down her face. I don't understand. How can this be happening? I know it's a lot, but you're strong, Elena. Stronger than you think. Jessica moved closer. Your father made choices, bad choices, but you don't have to be defined by them. You can be the one who ends this. How? Talk to him. Show him what I've shown you. Make him understand that the only way out is through. Jessica squeezed her hand. You're not alone in this. I'll be with you every step of the way. Elena looked at her, tear-streaked, broken, but something else too, determined. Give me the drive. Jessica handed it over. Take your time, look at everything, and when you're ready, call me. What if I'm never ready? Then at least you'll know the truth. And the truth, even when it hurts, is better than living a lie. Elena took the drive, put it in her pocket, stood up. I need to go. I understand. Elena started to walk away, then stopped. Jessica. Yeah. If what you're saying is true, if my father is really what you say he is, I'll help you, whatever it takes. I know you will. Elena left. Jessica sat alone in the coffee shop, feeling the weight of what she'd just done. She'd manipulated an innocent girl, used her loneliness, exploited her trust, all for a greater good. She'd never felt more like a criminal. The call came 3 days later. I looked at everything. Elena's voice was hollow, empty. It's all true, isn't it? Yes. My father helped kill people, launder money from drugs that destroyed families. He's been lying to me my whole life. Elena. I confronted him. Last night, I showed him the files. Jessica's heart stopped. What happened? He cried. I've never seen my father cry, not once in my entire life. Elena's voice cracked. He said he didn't have a choice, that Marchetti would have killed us both if he didn't cooperate. He said he's been trying to protect me. Did you believe him? Does it matter he's still a criminal? He still did all those things? What do you want to do now? Silence on the other end. He wants to meet you, you and whoever you're working with. He says he'll cooperate. He'll testify against Marchetti, give you everything. In exchange for what? Immunity for him, protection for me, a chance to start over somewhere far away. Jessica felt something loosen in her chest. That can be arranged. There's one more thing. He says you're in danger. Marchetti knows you're still alive. He knows you've been investigating, and he's planning something big. What? He didn't know details, just that Marchetti's been meeting with his lieutenants, talking about making an example, something that will scare everyone into obedience. When? Soon. My father thinks within the next few days. Elena's voice tightened. Jessica, he says to watch your back. Marchetti doesn't just want you dead anymore. He wants to destroy you, publicly, painfully. Thank you for the warning. Don't thank me, just stop him. Elena paused. And keep your promise, about protecting my father, about giving us a second chance. I will. The line went dead. Jessica immediately called Marcus. Reyes is in. He's willing to testify. That's good news. There's bad news too. Marchetti knows we're still alive. He's planning something. Elena didn't know the details, but it's coming soon. Then we move tonight. Get Reyes into protective custody before Marchetti can act. Is that safe? Nothing about this is safe, but waiting is worse. Marcus's voice hardened. Meet me at the safe house in 2 hours. We're ending this. The meeting with Vincent Reyes happened at midnight. An abandoned industrial building on the outskirts of the city. Neutral ground, or as neutral as anything could be in this war. Reyes came alone as instructed. He looked smaller than Jessica had expected. Grayer. A man carrying the weight of decades of terrible choices. Officer Taylor, I've heard a lot about you. None of it good, I'm sure. Actually, the opposite. Marchetti is terrified of you. You and your friend. Reyes looked at Marcus. The SEAL. The one who's been hunting him for 3 years. You knew about that. I know everything. That's my job. Was my job. Reyes sat down heavily. Where do we start? At the beginning, Marcus said. Everything Marchetti has ever done. Names, dates, accounts, bodies, all of it. That'll take hours. We have hours. Reyes talked. For 4 hours straight, he laid out the entire structure of Marchetti's empire. The drug pipelines, the money laundering operations, the politicians on his payroll, the cops who looked the other way. Jessica felt sick listening to it. The scale of the corruption, the depth of the evil, and at the center of it all, Victor Marchetti, a spider in a web of death and money. What about the warehouse? Marcus asked. The night Jessica was taken. Marchetti planned that personally. He was obsessed with making an example. Burning a cop alive would send a message no one is untouchable. But I survived. Because of him. Reyes nodded at Marcus. Marchetti has been trying to identify you for weeks. He knows you're military. He knows you're dangerous. But he doesn't know where to find you. Good. It won't matter if he moves first. Reyes leaned forward. There's something I haven't told you yet. Something big. What? Marchetti is planning an attack, tomorrow night. A statement that will remind everyone in the city who's really in charge. What kind of attack? The police station, downtown. He's going to hit it during shift change. Maximum casualties, maximum chaos. Jessica felt her blood run cold. That's insane. That's domestic terrorism. Marchetti doesn't care anymore. He's losing control. The drug bust hurt him. The failed attempt on you made him look weak. He needs to show strength even if it destroys him in the process. How do we stop it? You don't. Not directly, but you can use it. Reyes pulled out a piece of paper. This is the location where Marchetti will be during the attack. His personal safe house. He'll be watching, waiting to see the results. He'll be vulnerable. For the first time in 30 years, yes. Marcus took the paper, studied it. This could be a trap. It's not. I've given you everything. I've betrayed everything I've built for 30 years. Why would I lie now? To save yourself, to buy time, any number of reasons. My daughter is the only reason I have left, and she's already safe. Reyes met Marcus's eyes. I'm not lying. This is real. Jessica looked at Marcus. We need to warn the station, get everyone out, and tip off whoever's working for Marchetti inside the department know. Marcus stood. We handle this ourselves. We let the attack begin, draw Marchetti out, and end him while he thinks he's winning. People could die. People are going to die either way. The only question is how many and whether their deaths mean something. Marcus's voice was hard. We evacuate who we can quietly, but we don't tip our hand. That's cold. That's war. Jessica wanted to argue, wanted to find another way, but she knew he was right. There was no other way. What do you need me to do? Get Shadow. Contact anyone in your department you trust absolutely, and I mean absolutely. Prepare them for tomorrow night. And you? I'm going to make some calls. Old friends who owe me favors. By tomorrow night, Marchetti's safe house will be surrounded by people who know exactly how to end this. And Reyes. Marcus looked at the accountant. You stay here. Protected. Until this is over, you don't leave this building. I understand. You better. Because if you betray us now, you won't live long enough to regret it. Reyes nodded slowly. I'm done betraying people. I've done enough of that for 10 lifetimes. Jessica stood. I'll be back in 6 hours. With Shadow. With backup. Be careful. Always am. She moved toward the door. Jessica. She turned. Marcus was looking at her with something she couldn't quite read. Whatever happens tomorrow night, I want you to know what you've done, what you've risked. It matters. You matter. So do you. A moment passed between them. Something unspoken. Then Jessica was gone. She had work to do, and less than 24 hours to do it. The next 20 hours passed in a blur of preparation and fear. Jessica contacted 3 people she trusted absolutely. Martinez, who had been her partner before K9, Captain Harrison, who had mentored her since the academy, and Officer Chen, who had been at the warehouse bust and had proven herself under fire. She told them everything. The attack on the station, Marchetti's plan, the mole in the department, all of it. This is insane, Martinez said when she finished. You're asking us to let an attack happen. I'm asking you to control an attack that's happening regardless. We can evacuate quietly. Move people out before the shooting starts. Save lives while making Marchetti think he's winning. And then we hit him where it hurts. His safe house, while he's watching the chaos thinking he's untouchable. Harrison shook his head slowly. This is off the books. Way off. If it goes wrong, we're all dead anyway. Marchetti isn't going to stop. He's already tried to burn me alive. He's planning to massacre cops. This isn't going to end until one of us ends it. Chen spoke for the first time. I'm in. Just like that? I was there when Shadow found the drugs. I saw what Marchetti's product does to people, to families, to this city. Chen's jaw tightened. I'm in. Martinez looked at Harrison. Harrison looked at Jessica. Your father would either be proud of you or terrified, Harrison said. Maybe both. Probably both. Harrison sighed. What do you need from us? Jessica told them. By nightfall, the plan was in motion. Marcus spent the day making calls. Former teammates, intelligence contacts, men who lived in shadows and owed him favors they'd never expected to repay. Cole, it's been 3 years. I need help. You're calling in your marker. Every marker I've got. Silence on the other end. What's the target? Victor Marchetti. A low whistle. That's a big fish. That's the fish that killed Thompson and Rodriguez. That put Williams in a wheelchair. Marcus's voice hardened. I'm ending this. Tonight. How many men do you need? As many as you can get here in 12 hours. That's a tight window. It's all I've got. Another pause. Give me the location. I'll see what I can do. Marcus gave him the coordinates. Marcus? Yeah. For what it's worth, Thompson would have wanted this. Rodriguez too. They hated leaving business unfinished. So do I. The call ended. Marcus made 7 more calls. By the time he was done, he had 12 men committed. Former SEALs. Former Delta. Men who knew how to enter a building and leave nothing alive inside. It wasn't an army, but it would be enough. Jessica returned to the safe house at 1800 hours. Shadow bounded to Marcus, immediately tail-wagging, pressing against his legs like they were old friends. He's been doing that since we got back, Jessica said. I think he likes you more than me. He knows I'm nervous. He's trying to help. You nervous? Marcus looked at her. I've been waiting 3 years for this. 3 years of watching, planning, wondering if I'd ever get the chance to finish what Marchetti started. He paused. Now that it's here, yeah, I'm nervous. That's honest. I try to be. Marcus moved to his equipment bag, started checking weapons. Your people are in position. Ready to evacuate the moment we give the signal. Harrison's coordinating from outside. Martinez and Chen are inside, ready to move everyone out the back. And the mole. We fed them false information, made them think the target is the East Precinct, not downtown. Marchetti's men will hit an empty building. That's good. That's smart. Marcus loaded a magazine. But they'll figure it out fast. We'll have maybe 20 minutes before all hell breaks loose. 20 minutes is enough. It better be. Shadow whined softly. He could feel the tension, the approaching storm. Jessica knelt beside him, ran her hands through his fur. Hey boy, whatever happens tonight, I need you to stay close. Okay, don't leave my side. The dog licked her face, his way of saying he understood. He's a good partner, Marcus said. The best I've ever had. Jessica stood, present company included. Marcus almost smiled. Jessica, there's something I need to tell you, before we do this. What? If this goes wrong tonight, if I don't make it, there's a safety deposit box at First National. Keys in my apartment. It has everything. Evidence against Marchetti. Names of his contacts. Proof of what he did to my team. Marcus, let me finish. If I die, you take that evidence to the FBI. You make sure this bastard burns even if I'm not there to see it. You're not going to die. Probably not, but I've learned to plan for the worst. Marcus met her eyes. Promise me. Jessica felt something crack in her chest. I promise, but you're going to be there to see him burn. I'm going to make sure of it. That's what partners do, right? That's what partners do. They stood there for a moment, something passing between them that neither could name. Then Marcus's phone buzzed. My guys are in position. It's time. The attack on the downtown station began at exactly 2100 hours. 3 black SUVs, 12 men with automatic weapons. A coordinated assault designed to maximize casualties and send a message. But when they burst through the doors, guns blazing, they found something unexpected. Empty hallways. Empty offices. Nobody home. What the hell? The lead attacker lowered his weapon. "Where is everyone?" "Sir, the building's been evacuated. Someone tipped them off." "That's impossible." Marchetti said. His phone rang. He answered. "Report." "There's no one here. The station's empty." Silence on the other end. "Find them. Find them all. And find out who betrayed us." But it was already too late. Across town, Marcus Cole was moving. 12 men, silent, deadly. Approaching Marchetti's safe house from 3 different directions. Jessica was with him, Shadow at her side, both of them wearing tactical gear that Marcus had provided. "Remember," Marcus whispered, "we go in fast, neutralize the guards, find Marchetti. What about collateral?" "There is no collateral. Everyone in that house knows what Marchetti does. They're all guilty." "That's not how the law works." "Tonight we're not the law. We're justice." Marcus's eyes were cold. "Stay behind me. Keep Shadow close. And if I tell you to run, you run. No arguments. I'm not leaving you. If I go down, you're the only one who can finish this. Reyes. The evidence. The testimony. It all depends on you surviving." Jessica wanted to argue, but she knew he was right. "Fine. But you're not going down." "That's the plan." They moved. The safe house had 16 guards. They lasted less than 3 minutes. Marcus's team was surgical, precise. Every shot placed exactly where it needed to be. No wasted ammunition, no unnecessary noise. By the time they reached the main entrance, the perimeter was clear. 4 men inside, Marcus reported, checking his thermal scanner. 2 on the first floor, 2 on the second, and 1 more in the basement. The basement. Marchetti. He's hiding. Of course he is, coward. Not hiding. Marcus's expression shifted. Waiting. He knows we're coming. How? Because he planned for this. Just like I planned for him. Marcus signaled his team. Everyone move to positions. I'm going in alone. Like hell you are. Jessica. I didn't go through all of this to sit outside while you face him alone. I'm coming with you. This isn't negotiable. You're right, it's not. Jessica drew her weapon. Lead the way. Marcus stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Stay close, and keep Shadow on alert. They entered the building. The first 2 guards went down before they knew they were under attack. Marcus moved like water, fluid, silent. One moment he was there, the next he was somewhere else, and men were falling in his wake. Jessica covered his 6. Shadow stalked beside her ears, pricked, sensing threats before they materialized. They reached the stairs to the 2nd floor. 2 more up there. Then Marchetti. I'm ready. They climbed. The guards on the 2nd floor were better prepared. They saw Marcus coming, opened fire. Bullets tore through the air. Marcus dove behind a pillar. Jessica dropped flat, pulling Shadow down with her. Stay down, Marcus yelled. He returned fire. 1 guard fell. Then the 2nd. Silence. Clear. They moved to the basement door. He's down there, alone. This feels like a trap. It probably is. Marcus checked his weapon. Ready. Born ready. He kicked the door open. Victor Marchetti was waiting. He was standing in the center of the basement, a gun in his hand, but he wasn't pointing it at them. He was pointing it at his own head. Come in, come in. I've been expecting you. Put the gun down, Marchetti. Why, so you can kill me? I'd rather do it myself. At least then I control the ending. Marchetti smiled. That same cold smile from the warehouse. You've been busy, Mr. Cole. 3 years of planning. 3 years of waiting. And now here you are. You know who I am. I've known for months. The SEAL whose team I destroyed. The ghost who's been haunting my operations. Marchetti laughed. Did you really think I didn't notice? I'm not a fool? Then why didn't you stop me? Because I wanted to see how far you'd go. what you were capable of, and I have to say I'm impressed." Marchetti's eyes moved to Jessica. "And you, the cop who wouldn't die. You've been a persistent annoyance." Shadow growled, low and dangerous. "Tell your dog to stand down, or I end this right now." "Shadow, heel." The dog obeyed, but his eyes never left Marchetti. "Good boy." Marchetti lowered the gun slightly. "Now, let's negotiate." "There's nothing to negotiate. You're done." "Am I?" "My men are still out there. My network still exists. Kill me and 10 more will take my place. That's how this works. That's how it's always worked." "Not anymore." Marcus stepped forward. "Reyes talked. Everything. Names, accounts, evidence. By morning, every cop, every politician, every judge you've ever bought will be in custody. Your empire is over." Something flickered in Marchetti's eyes. Fear. "Reyes would never." "Reyes loves his daughter more than he fears you. That's the thing about loyalty bought with terror. It only lasts until something stronger comes along." "Then I'll kill him too. I'll kill them all. You'll do nothing." Marcus raised his weapon. "You're finished. Accept it." Marchetti stared at him. Then he started laughing. "You think this ends with me? You think you've won?" He shook his head. "I've been running this city for 30 years. I've survived prosecutors, FBI investigations, assassination attempts, and you think a washed-up SEAL and a dog cop are going to bring me down? We already have." "No, you've inconvenienced me. There's a difference." Marchetti's grip tightened on his gun. "But I'll tell you what, I'll give you a choice. Same choice I gave your friends 3 years ago." Marcus went still. "What did you just say?" "Thompson and Rodriguez. Good men, strong, loyal. They could have worked for me, could have had everything they wanted. Instead, they chose to die. You son of a—" "I gave them a choice. Walk away and live. Stay and burn. They stayed." Marchetti smiled. "Just like you're going to stay. You're not walking out of here alive. Neither are you." Marchetti moved. Not toward Marcus, toward a panel on the wall. His hand slammed against a button. Alarms screamed. "What did you do?" "Insurance policy. This whole building is rigged to blow. We have about 90 seconds." Marchetti laughed again. "You wanted to end this together. Now we will." Jessica grabbed Marcus's arm. "We need to go. Now." "Not without him." "Marcus, the building is going to explode." "Then he dies with us." Marchetti raised his gun, pointed it at Jessica. "No, she dies first. Then you. Then me." His finger tightened on the trigger. "Goodbye, Officer Taylor." Shadow launched. 70 pounds of protective fury teeth bared, hitting Marchetti before he could fire. The gun went off. The bullet missed Jessica by inches. Marchetti screamed. Shadow's jaws locked around his arm, shaking, tearing. "Shadow, release." The dog obeyed, backed away. Marchetti collapsed, blood pouring from his mangled arm. 60 seconds. Marcus grabbed Jessica. "We're leaving. Now." "Marchetti? Leave him. He wanted to die here. Let him." They ran. Up the stairs, through the hallways, past the bodies of men who had served a monster. The front door was ahead. Freedom. Safety. 40 seconds. "Faster." They burst through the door. Hit the ground running. 30 seconds. Marcus's team was already pulling back. Everyone moving away from the building at full speed. 20 seconds. Jessica's lungs burned. Her legs screamed. But she kept running. Shadow at her side. Marcus just ahead. 10 seconds. "Get down!" Marcus tackled her, covered her body with his own. Shadow pressed against them both. The explosion lit up the night. Heat, light, sound. The world becoming a wall of fire and destruction. Then silence. Jessica opened her eyes. She was alive. Marcus was above her, breathing hard, his eyes searching her face. "You okay?" "I think so." "Shadow," the dog whined, but he was moving, unhurt. "He's okay too." Marcus rolled off her, lay on his back staring at the burning building. "It's over. It's actually over." Marchetti. No one could have survived that. He got what he wanted. Control over his own ending. Jessica sat up, watched the flames consume everything Marchetti had built. "Your team." "Everyone got out. I can see them regrouping on the south side." "So we won." "We won." Marcus closed his eyes. 3 years. 3 years of planning and waiting and wondering if this day would ever come. And now it's here. And I don't know how to feel. How about alive? That's a good place to start. Marcus laughed. A real laugh. The first one Jessica had heard from him. Alive works. Sirens in the distance now. Fire trucks. Police. The cavalry arriving after the battle was already won. Jessica reached out, took Marcus's hand. "Thank you." For what? For being there. In the warehouse. In the alley. Tonight. Every time I needed someone, you were there. That's what partners do. Is that what we are, partners? Marcus looked at her. At the woman who had faced monsters beside him. Who had risked everything to end a threat she didn't have to fight. I think we're something more than that. I just don't know what to call it yet. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we will. Shadow padded over. Lay down between them. His head on Marcus's leg. His body pressed against Jessica's side. He's claiming both of us, Jessica said. He's got good taste. They lay there together, watching the fire burn, listening to the sirens grow closer. It wasn't over. Not completely. There would be investigations, testimony, trials. But the monster was dead, and they were alive. For now, that was enough. The cleanup took weeks. Vincent Reyes testified before a grand jury, named every corrupt official, every dirty cop, every politician who had taken Marchetti's money. 37 arrests in the first wave, more to follow. Elena Reyes started over. New name, new city. A chance at the life her father's choices had almost destroyed. Marcus's team scattered back to their lives. Debts paid. Markers cleared. And Jessica Taylor went back to work. But things were different now. You're a hero, Captain Harrison told her, whether you like it or not. I'm just a cop who did her job. You took down the biggest criminal organization on the East Coast. That's more than a job. I had help. The SEAL, Marcus Cole. Harrison studied her. He's not the type to stick around, you know. Men like that, they finish their mission and disappear. I know. But you're hoping anyway. Jessica didn't answer. She didn't need to. Marcus came to see her 3 days later. She was at home, off duty for the first time in weeks. Shadow was sleeping on the couch. The knock on the door was soft, almost hesitant. She opened it. Hey. Hey. They stood there for a moment, neither knowing what to say. Can I come in? Yeah, of course. He entered. Shadow lifted his head, tail wagging. He's happy to see you. I'm happy to see him too. Marcus knelt, scratched behind the dog's ears. I came to say goodbye. Jessica felt her heart drop. Goodbye. I've been in one place too long. That's dangerous for someone like me. I need to keep moving. Where will you go? I don't know yet. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere I can try to figure out what comes next. And us. Marcus stood, faced her. There is no us. Not the way you're thinking. I'm not the kind of man who stays, Jessica. I don't know how. You could learn. Maybe. Someday. He paused. But not now. Not yet. Jessica wanted to argue, wanted to fight, wanted to tell him that he was wrong, that what they had was worth staying for. But she saw the look in his eyes. He was already gone. Will I ever see you again? I don't know. Probably not. Marcus reached out, touched her face. But I want you to know what we did, what we built it, mattered. You mattered. So did you. Take care of yourself, Jessica. And take care of Shadow. He's special. I know. Marcus turned toward the door. Marcus. He stopped. If you ever need a partner again, for anything, you know where to find me. He looked back at her, a sad smile on his face. Yeah, I do. Then he was gone. Jessica stood alone in her apartment, Shadow pressed against her leg. The man who had saved her life had walked away, and she had let him go. Because that's what he needed. Because that's what love sometimes meant. Letting go. 3 years changed everything. Jessica Taylor was promoted to lieutenant. Then, captain. The youngest female captain in the department's history. Shadow was still at her side, though he moved slower now. Gray around his muzzle. Arthritis in his hips that made cold mornings difficult. But his eyes were still sharp. His instincts still razor keen. And his loyalty still absolute. You should retire him, Chief Harrison told her one morning. He's earned it. He'll retire when I do, not before. He's 10 years old, Jessica. That's ancient for a working dog. He's not just a working dog, he's my partner. Harrison shook his head. You're as stubborn as your father was. I'll take that as a compliment. The city had changed since Marchetti's death. Crime was down. Corruption was being rooted out systematically. The department that had once been riddled with moles and informants was cleaner than it had been in decades. Jessica had helped build that, but something was missing. She never talked about it. Never acknowledged the empty space that Marcus Cole had left when he walked out her door 3 years ago. But it was there. Every morning when she woke up. Every night when she came home to an empty apartment. Every time Shadow looked toward the door like he was expecting someone who never came. The hole was always there. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. Jessica was in her office reviewing reports when her personal phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Something made her pick up anyway. Taylor? Hey. One word. That was all it took. Her heart stopped. Marcus. Yeah, it's me. 3 years of silence. 3 years of wondering. 3 years of trying to move on. And now his voice was in her ear like no time had passed at all. Where are you? Outside. Outside where? Your building. I wasn't sure if you still worked here. Things change. Some things don't. Silence on the other end. Can you come down? I need to talk to you. I'll be there in 2 minutes. She hung up. Looked at Shadow. The dog was already on his feet. Tail wagging, like he knew. Come on, boy. Let's go see an old friend. Marcus looked different. Older. Leaner. A new scar above his left eyebrow that hadn't been there before. But his eyes were the same. Gray and watchful and hiding depths she'd never fully explored. You grew a beard. You got promoted. He nodded at her insignia. Captain, impressive. It's been 3 years, Marcus. A lot's happened. I know. I've been keeping track. From where? Around. Nowhere specific. He shrugged. I moved a lot. Couldn't stay anywhere too long. Shadow padded toward him. Slow now, careful of his joints, but determined. Marcus knelt. Hey, old man. You remember me. Shadow licked his face, his tail wagging faster than Jessica had seen in months. He remembers. Dogs don't forget. Not the important things. Marcus scratched behind Shadow's ears. He's gotten gray. We all have. Marcus stood, faced her. I'm sorry. For what? For leaving, for not calling, for disappearing like you meant nothing. His voice cracked slightly. You didn't mean nothing, Jessica. You meant everything. That's why I had to go. That doesn't make sense. I know. I didn't make sense for a long time. Marcus took a breath. After Marchetti, I thought I'd feel different, lighter, like a weight had been lifted. But it wasn't like that. The weight was still there. Just different. What kind of weight? Guilt. Loss. All the things I'd been running from for years. He met her eyes. I wasn't running from you. I was running from myself. And I couldn't stop until I figured out who I was without a mission, without an enemy, without something to fight. Did you figure it out? I think so. Maybe. A small smile. I figured out that running doesn't work, that the only way out is through, and that the person I want to be, he doesn't run from people who matter to him. Jessica felt something crack in her chest, something she'd kept locked away for 3 years. Why are you here, Marcus, really? Because I'm done running. Because I want to try being still for a while, and because... He stopped. Because I never stopped thinking about you, not once, not for a single day. 3 years is a long time to think without doing anything about it. I know, I was scared. You scared the man who took on a mob boss with nothing but a motorcycle and bad intentions. That kind of fear is easy. It's physical, immediate. You deal with it and move on. Marcus shook his head. This kind of fear, the fear of letting someone in, of trusting them with everything you are, that's harder. That's the hardest thing I've ever faced. Shadow whined softly, pressing against Marcus's leg. He wants you to stay, Jessica said. What do you want? The question hung in the air. 3 years of silence and loneliness and trying to pretend she didn't care. I want to know you're not going to leave again. I want to know that if I let you back in, you're not going to disappear when things get hard. I can't promise that nothing will ever go wrong. But I can promise I'll stay and face it with you, whatever it is, for as long as you'll have me. That's a big promise. It's the only one that matters. Jessica looked at him, at the man who had saved her life, who had walked away when she needed him most, who had come back when she'd given up hope. Come inside. We should talk. Really talk. Not standing in a parking lot like strangers. Are we strangers? I don't know what we are. That's what we need to figure out. Marcus nodded. Lead the way, Captain. They talked for 7 hours. In her office at first, then at a diner across the street when hunger became impossible to ignore. Marcus told her everything. The 3 years of wandering, the jobs he'd taken, private security, mostly nothing illegal, nothing that made him feel dirty, the places he'd seen, the people he'd met, and the nightmares that had finally slowly started to fade. I saw a therapist, he admitted. First time in my life. Took me 2 years to work up the courage. And it helped. Not fixed. I don't think people like me ever get fixed. But helped. Enough to understand what I was doing. Why I was doing it. What were you doing? Punishing myself. For surviving when others didn't. For leaving when I should have stayed. For being too scared to let anyone close. And now I'm trying to be different. Trying to be the kind of person who stays. Marcus looked at her across the table. If you'll let me. Jessica thought about it. 3 years of silence. 3 years of moving on. Could she really go back? Could she really trust him again? Shadow was asleep at her feet. Even in sleep, his body was angled toward Marcus. Protecting. Trusting. Dogs knew things. I can't make this easy for you, she said finally. You hurt me. Badly. And I can't just pretend that didn't happen. I don't want you to pretend. I want you to be honest. Tell me what you need, what you want. I'll do whatever it takes. I need time. I need you to prove that you mean what you're saying, not with words, with actions. How? Stay. Be here. Be present. Show me that you can be part of something without running when it gets hard. I can do that. But can you? Because the first time things get complicated, the first time you feel trapped, you're going to want to bolt. That's who you've been for your whole life. It's who I was. It's not who I want to be. Jessica studied him, looking for the lie, the evasion, finding only earnestness and something that looked like hope. Okay. Okay, I'll give you a chance. One chance. You screw this up, you're gone. No second chances, no explaining, just gone. That's fair. I know it is. I'm being fair to myself for once. Marcus reached across the table, took her hand. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to make this easy or hard. I'm hoping for hard. I need the challenge. Despite everything, Jessica smiled. Be careful what you wish for. The next 6 months were a test. Marcus got an apartment in the city. Started working again, legitimate security consulting, using his skills to protect instead of destroy. He saw Jessica every day, sometimes for hours, sometimes for minutes, stolen between her duties and his. He walked shadow when Jessica was working late, took the dog to the vet when his arthritis flared up, learned the names of Jessica's colleagues, her friends, the people who mattered to her. He didn't run, not when things got complicated, not when his nightmares came back for a week straight, not when the anniversary of his teammates' deaths made him want to disappear into a bottle and never come out. He stayed. And slowly, Jessica began to trust him again. You're different, she said one evening. They were in her apartment, shadow between them on the couch, a movie playing that neither was really watching. Different how? Calmer, more present. You used to always feel like you were about to leave, like you had one foot out the door even when you were standing still. I probably did. Old habits. And now, Marcus thought about it. Now I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. For the first time in my life, I'm not looking for the exit. I'm not planning my escape route. I'm just here. That sounds peaceful. It is. It's terrifying and peaceful at the same time. He paused. Is that weird? No. I think that's how it's supposed to feel, when you finally stop fighting yourself. Shadow sighed in his sleep, adjusting his position so he was touching both of them. He's gotten even grayer, Marcus said. I know. The vet says he's slowing down. His heart's not as strong as it used to be. How much longer? A year, maybe 2 if we're lucky. Jessica's voice caught. I don't know what I'm going to do when he's gone. You're going to grieve, and then you're going to honor him, and then you're going to keep going. That's what partners do. You sound like you've been through this before. Ghost. My military K9. He died 8 years ago, and there are still days when I expect to see him. Marcus stroked Shadow's fur. They never really leave us. They just change form. Become memories instead of presence. But the love stays. Always. Jessica leaned into him. I'm glad you came back. So am I. Don't make me regret it. I won't. I promise. They sat in silence, watching the movie they weren't watching, feeling the warmth of the dog between them. For the first time in years, everything felt right. The emergency came 11 months later. Jessica was on her way home from a conference when her phone exploded with notifications. A hostage situation. Downtown office building. Multiple gunmen. Dozens of casualties. She was there in 20 minutes. Shadow beside her despite the vet's warnings, despite her own protests. You should stay in the car, she told him. He looked at her with those knowing eyes, the eyes that had seen 100 busts, 1,000 dangers. He wasn't staying anywhere. Fine, but you stay close. No heroics. She pushed through the police line, found the incident commander, got briefed. 4 gunmen had taken the building. 37 hostages on the top floor, demands unclear, communications sporadic. SWAT is standing by. the commander said. "But we need someone who knows the building, someone who can guide them in." "I know the building. I consulted on their security 3 years ago." "Then you're going in with them." Jessica looked at Shadow. "Both of us." The assault took 2 hours. 2 hours of close-quarters combat, of bullets flying and bodies falling and decisions made in split seconds that meant life or death. Shadow was magnificent, despite his age, despite his arthritis, despite everything working against him. He found the hostages before anyone else, led the team through hallways that would have taken them twice as long to navigate, protected Jessica's back when she couldn't protect her own. By the end, 29 hostages were saved. All 4 gunmen were neutralized, but the cost was high. Shadow. Jessica saw him go down, saw the blood spreading across his fur. She was at his side before anyone could stop her. "No. No, no, no. Hold on, boy. Hold on." He looked up at her. Those knowing eyes, that look of absolute trust. "Medic, I need a medic." Someone was at her side, hands pressing against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding that wouldn't stop. "It's bad. We need to get him to a vet immediately." "Then get him there, move." They loaded Shadow into a vehicle, Jessica beside him, her hands covered in his blood, her heart breaking in ways she'd never imagined. "Stay with me, boy. You stay with me. That's an order." Shadow's tail wagged once, weakly. Then his eyes closed. The surgery took 4 hours. Jessica sat in the waiting room, Marcus beside her having dropped everything the moment she called. She couldn't stop shaking. "He's strong," Marcus said. "He's survived worse." "Has he?" "He's 11 years old, Marcus. He got shot saving my life. What if—" "Don't. Don't go there yet." "How can I not? He's my partner. He's been my partner for 8 years. He saved me more times than I can count, and now he's in there fighting for his life because I couldn't protect him." "You didn't fail him. He did his job. He protected you. That's what he was trained to do. That's what he wanted to do." "I shouldn't have let him come. I knew he was too old. I knew the risk." "And he knew it too. He went anyway." Marcus took her hand. "Dogs like Shadow, they don't retire gracefully. They don't sit on porches and watch the world go by. They fight until they can't fight anymore. That's who they are." "That doesn't make it easier." "No, it doesn't." The veterinarian emerged 3 hours later. Captain Taylor. Jessica jumped to her feet. "How is he?" "He's stable. The bullet missed his vital organs, but there was significant blood loss. We managed to stop the bleeding and repair the damage. He's going to live." "He's going to live, but—" The vet hesitated. "He won't be able to work anymore. The damage to his rear leg is permanent. He'll walk, but not like before. And his heart. The stress has weakened it further. He needs rest, complete rest, for the rest of his life." Jessica felt tears streaming down her face. "Can I see him?" "He's sleeping. But yes, you can see him." She found Shadow in a recovery room. Tubes and monitors everywhere. His breathing slow but steady. She sat beside him, took his paw in her hand. "Hey, partner, you scared me." Shadow's eyes fluttered open. His tail moved slightly. "The vet says you're retiring. For real this time. No more busts, no more heroics." She stroked his head. "Just rest and treats and belly rubs for the rest of your days." He licked her hand weakly. "You saved 29 people today. You know that 29 families that get to keep their loved ones because of you." Jessica's voice broke. "I'm so proud of you, Shadow. So proud." The dog's eyes closed again, content, at peace. Jessica stayed with him all night. Marcus brought coffee at 3 a.m. "He's going to be okay," she said. "I know. He's too stubborn to die. Like someone else I know." Marcus sat beside her. "The news is calling him a hero. Footage of him leading the team through the building is everywhere." "He'd hate the attention." "Probably. but he earned it. They sat in silence for a while, watching Shadow sleep. "I've been thinking," Marcus said. "About what? About us. About what comes next." Jessica looked at him. "What do you mean?" "I mean, this past year has been the best of my life. Being with you, being part of something, having a home instead of just a location." Marcus took a breath. "I want to make it permanent. Official." Marcus. "I'm not proposing. Not yet. I know we're not there, but I want you to know that I'm not going anywhere. Not now. Not ever. Whatever happens, whatever comes next, I'm here. For you. For Shadow. For this." Jessica felt something warm spreading through her chest. "That sounds like a commitment." "It is. The biggest one I've ever made. And I mean every word." "What if I'm not ready?" "Then I wait, as long as it takes, because you're worth waiting for." Shadow stirred in his sleep, his tail wagging slightly. "He approves," Jessica said. "He's got good taste." "He always has." She leaned her head against Marcus's shoulder. "Stay with me tonight." "I'm not going anywhere." "I mean stay. Here. With us." Marcus put his arm around her. "Always." The retirement ceremony for Shadow was held 3 weeks later. The entire department turned out. News cameras, officials, families of the people he'd saved over the years. Shadow recovered but slower sat beside Jessica on a platform, a medal around his neck, dignity in every line of his aging body. "This dog has served this city for 8 years," Jessica said, speaking to the assembled crowd. "He's helped save countless lives, intercepted millions of dollars in drugs, found missing children and lost seniors and evidence that put criminals away for good." She looked down at him. "But more than that, he's been my partner, my friend, my family. When I had no one else, I had him. When the world seemed impossible, he made it possible. When I wanted to give up, he wouldn't let me." Shadow looked up at her. That knowing gaze one last time in public. Today, Shadow retires. He's earned it. More than earned it. But I want everyone here to know the service doesn't stop. The love doesn't stop. He'll spend the rest of his days being spoiled rotten and loved completely. The crowd laughed. "To Shadow. The best partner I've ever had. The best partner anyone could ask for." Applause thundered through the courtyard. Shadow's tail wagged. He understood. On some level, he always understood. Marcus was waiting when the ceremony ended. "Nice speech." It wasn't enough. No speech could be enough. "He knows. That's all that matters." Shadow padded over to Marcus, leaned against his leg. "He's adopted you," Jessica said. "I'm honored." "You should be. He's very selective." They walked together toward the parking lot, Shadow between them, moving slowly but steadily. "What happens now?" Marcus asked. "Now we go home, all 3 of us, and we start the next chapter." "What does that chapter look like?" "I don't know yet, but I know who's going to be in it." Jessica took his hand. "You ready?" "I've been ready for 3 years." "Then let's go." They left the ceremony behind. The cameras, the crowds, the attention. What mattered was ahead. 2 years later the call came. Jessica was in her kitchen making breakfast when her phone rang. The vet's number. She knew before she answered. "Captain Taylor, I'm sorry to inform you that Shadow passed away peacefully last night. He went in his sleep. No pain, no distress." Jessica couldn't speak. "The staff wanted you to know he was a remarkable animal. The most remarkable any of us had ever worked with. It was an honor to care for him. Thank you. For everything." She hung up. Marcus found her on the kitchen floor 5 minutes later, sobbing, unable to stop. He didn't say anything. He just sat beside her, held her, let her grieve. The memorial was small, private, just Jessica, Marcus, and a few close friends, the people who had known Shadow best. They buried his ashes in the backyard of the house they'd bought together, under a tree that would shade the spot in summer and drop leaves on it in fall. "He was the best of us," Jessica said at the grave. "Better than any human I've ever known. Loyal to the end. Brave until his last breath. Everything a partner should be." She placed her hand on the freshly turned earth. "Rest now, boy. You've earned it. Watch over us from wherever you are." Marcus put his arm around her. "He's at peace." "I know. I just miss him." "You always will. That's how it works with the good ones." They stood together in silence, saying goodbye to a friend. 3 months later, Jessica came home to find Marcus waiting with a box. "What's this?" "Open it." She opened the box. Inside was a puppy. German Shepherd. 8 weeks old. Eyes that were already sharp and intelligent. "Marcus?" "I know. Nothing can replace Shadow. I'm not trying to replace him." Marcus knelt beside her. "But this little guy needs a home. His mother was a canine officer in Virginia. She died on duty last month. He's the last of her litter. Nobody wanted him." "Why not?" "Because he's difficult, aggressive, too intense for most handlers." Marcus smiled. "Sound familiar?" Jessica looked at the puppy. He was watching her with an expression that made her heart ache. Not Shadow, but something. "What's his name?" "He doesn't have one yet. His previous handlers just called him the Problem." "That's terrible. So give him a better name. Give him a better life." The puppy licked her hand, then nibbled her finger. "Ow, he bites." "He's got spirit." Jessica laughed through her tears. "Ghost. His name is Ghost." Marcus blinked. "After my canine. After the dog who saved you. Who made you who you are." She looked up at him. "Is that okay?" "It's perfect." Ghost squirmed in the box trying to get closer to Jessica. "He's already obsessed with you," Marcus said. "Good. That's how it should be." She lifted the puppy out, held him close. "Welcome home, Ghost. You've got big paws to fill." The puppy barked once, sharp and clear, ready for whatever came next. 5 years later, Captain Jessica Taylor stood at a podium. Behind her, a new building. The state's first integrated K9 training center, named for the dog who had inspired it. The Shadow Memorial Center represents everything we believe about the bond between handlers and their partners. It's not just training. It's not just technique. It's about trust, about loyalty, about the kind of love that doesn't ask for anything in return. She looked at the audience. Officers from across the state, officials, families, and in the front row, Marcus Cole, holding the leash of a German Shepherd named Ghost, who had grown into the finest canine in the department's history. Shadow taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something matters more than your fear. He faced death to protect me, multiple times, without hesitation, without question. She felt her voice catch. "I can't bring him back, but I can make sure his legacy lives on. Through this center, through every dog we train here, through every handler who learns what it means to truly partner with an animal." She looked at Ghost, at the dog who had filled a space she'd thought would never be filled. To Shadow, to Ghost, to every canine who serves and protects alongside their human partners. You are the best of us. You always have been. You always will be. Applause thundered through the crowd. Later after the ceremony, Marcus found her standing alone. "Great speech." "Thanks." "How do you feel?" "Complete, for the first time in years." Jessica looked at him. "Is that strange? To feel complete at a building dedication?" "Not strange at all. This is everything you've been working toward. Everything Shadow represented." Ghost patted over, pressed against Jessica's leg. "And this guy," she said, scratching behind his ears. "He's become exactly what I hoped he'd be. Better even." "Maybe." Jessica smiled. "He's got a good teacher. 2 good teachers." They stood together, watching the sun set over the new building, over the legacy they'd built. "So," Marcus said. What now? Now we keep going. We train more dogs, save more lives, build more legacies. That sounds like a lot of work. It is, but it's worth it. She took his hand. You ready? Marcus looked at her, at the woman he'd almost lost, at the life they'd built together, at the future stretching out before them. I've been ready since the night I heard a dog screaming in a warehouse and couldn't walk away. Best decision you ever made. Second best. What was the first? Coming back. 3 years later. Taking a chance on something that scared me more than any combat I'd ever faced. Jessica squeezed his hand. I love you, Marcus Cole. I love you too, Jessica Taylor. Ghost barked once, as if to say he loved them both. They walked together toward the parking lot, toward home, toward whatever came next. Behind them, the Shadow Memorial Center stood tall against the fading light. A testament to a dog who had given everything. A promise that his sacrifice would never be forgotten. And a reminder that sometimes the most important battles aren't fought with weapons. They're fought with loyalty, with trust, with the kind of love that never dies. That was Shadow's legacy. That was everything he'd taught them. And that was the story of how a mob boss tried to burn a cop and her canine, and instead created a legend that would live forever. The old warriors fade, the young warriors rise, but the love remains, always. That was the truth. That was the promise. That was Shadow and Jessica and Marcus, and a bond that death itself could never break.